What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and tonight I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished their preseason Week 1 matchup, the first time they've taken the field for the 2023/24 NFL season. Preseason Week 1 against the Buccaneers, Pittsburgh gets the win 27-17. Score doesn't matter, it's preseason. What matters is how guys play, how guys are in the rotation, how guys look on the field against actual NFL competition. I did not take a whole lot of stat lines to write down. I didn't take a paint-by-numbers approach to this review. I just wrote down a bunch of names scattered across my page all over the place very inconsistently, so bear with my notes here. I'm going to try on the fly to kind of like positionally put these guys down by their position. I talk about them around the same time, so I'm going to see how this works out and if you guys like this format for the review. But again, Pittsburgh does win 27-17 and looks really good doing it. Pittsburgh comes out with the first team. Most of the first team only plays one series. Kenny Pickett comes out and the offense looks like it's cooking. Tampa Bay has some starters out there and some second teamers out there, so we've got to keep an even head about that. But mostly starters for the first drive. Pickett comes out and looks pretty good. He gets outside the pocket to avoid a couple of sacks, looks good moving around, keeps his eyes looking downfield, which I enjoyed a lot of last season. And the main guys to star on this drive were Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. Deontay had 3 different routes that he caught 3 balls for 3 first downs, looking really good. And then George Pickens catches a ball across the middle, shakes a guy, breaks a tackle, and gets into the end zone for a 30-plus yard touchdown. So right away, Pickens throws for 70 yards and a touchdown. Pickett throws for 70 yards and a touchdown. Deontay with 3 big catches. Pickens gets in the end zone. First team is pretty much done at that point. Not much out of Najee Harris. Not much to speak of on the offensive line, but just a good drive for the offense. From there, Team 2 comes out, and again, here's where the notes get really scattered. But I thought quarterback-wise, Trubisky didn't do much. I think he was like 1 of 2. He did have an interception. He threw a ball down the sidelines. I think he was looking for Cody White on a deep ball. Not a bad throw, but pretty good coverage. So one of his only throws was picked off. But then he did lead on the next drive, a touchdown drive, which was a 20-plus yard Anthony McFarland touchdown. So from this point, Jaylen Warren kind of came in, played pretty well, brief stuff. I think maybe had like 30 yards or so. Played pretty good out there, a couple nice carries. McFarland came in and probably shined the most out of any of the running backs. He came in, played several drives. He's looking quick. Again, he's a kind of a camp phenom every year. He's a hard guy to kind of put on a scale because he plays really well in camp and usually plays pretty well in preseason. Played pretty well the last 2 preseasons and played well here. Looked really good overall. He got several nice runs, including one that was called back on a holding penalty, like a 15-yard play that was called back. And then he got a 20-plus yard touchdown off the edge where they motioned Gunnar Olszewski inside. Gunnar got a nice block, sealed the edge. McFarland sprang outside and wasn't touched because his speed is really underrated. So McFarland, really nice day, best for the running backs. Again, not too much out of the backup quarterback tonight. Wide receiver-wise, in the backups, we already discussed the main guys. Backups, Calvin Austin is my number 1 player of the game. He's the guy that caught my attention the most. He played quite a bit. Played with the second team. I played a little bit in with the first teamers, played a lot with the second teamers, played a bit in with the third teamers as well with Mason Rudolph, where he did catch a big bomb from Mason Rudolph. He's the only stat line that I wrote down today. You guys know that I was most looking forward to seeing how he would play his first NFL game. He got hurt in camp last year, and in spite of making plays, didn't get to play an actual game. This is his first NFL game. 2 catches for 73 yards and a touchdown, plus 2 carries for 23 yards. So got downfield for a 50-plus yarder, burned a third stringer in the third quarter for a long touchdown, tracked the deep ball well, made a nice catch, walked himself into the end zone beautifully. Got another nice 15 or so yard catch downfield. Had a third play where he got wide open. It was Mason Rudolph's first throw. He did a nice comeback route where he shook somebody and got open, and Mason underthrew it. So should have had a third catch there. And then he had two jet sweep plays. One where he got around the edge for a nice first down run, and one where he shook a few guys for like a 7 to 8 yard run as well. So showing the jet sweeps and showing the wide receiving ability and the burner stuff down the sidelines. A very complete first game for my boy Calvin Austin. Wide receiver-wise, I want to give some credit as well to Gunnar Olszewski. I like what he did tonight. He really only had 2 big plays, but he had one nice target in the middle of the field, made a nice 12 to 15 yard catch for a first down. in the 2-minute drill to end the half, and also had that block, the seal block on the edge. Gunner is a very underrated blocking receiver considering how small he is. He's a good blocking receiver that sprang the touchdown for McFarland. So 2 good plays for Gunner as well. I think Gunner is far and away in the lead right now for wide receiver 5. As far as wide receiver 6, we didn't see much out of Miles Boykin. He didn't play much. And we didn't really, I think negative games today came out of Cody White and Hakeem Butler. I think White didn't do a good job tracking the ball on the interception. He had another one that was a blatant drop, an easy pass that he dropped. Hakeem Butler came in. He had 2 targets, did catch one of the balls for a first down, but dropped a wide open one on the other one, which has been a problem of his all camp long. So I think 2 negatives go both to Cody White and Hakeem Butler. So obviously Calvin Austin is the 4 behind Deontay Pickens and Allen Robinson. He's going to be the 4. I think Gunnar Olszewski is far and away in the lead for the 5. Neither of those guys did punt returns. Both on kick and punt returns, you see that Calvin Austin is listed as the 1, Gunnar Olszewski is listed as the 2. None of the special team starters played tonight. It was all the backups. So Jordan Byrd got most of the punt and kick returning duties and didn't do anything with it. So did have 1 jet sweep, and that was really about it. 1 out play for a first down, but Jordan Byrd was quiet today. I think Calvin and Gunnar have got that locked up. Tight end-wise, got to talk about my buddy, Connor Hayward. He's looking like one of the most underrated players on this team. Had a great camp, had a good night tonight. Made like 3 nice catches tonight downfield. 1 on the 2-minute drill. He had 1, I think, on the second drive, and then he also had a carry as well. He carried the ball at halfback in there as well at one point. Didn't see him play any fullback tonight. Surprised not to see him play there. I think that's where he's going to make the team as a technicality, because there are 4 tight ends on this roster that are all going to make it. So I think they're going to put Connor at fullback. Surprised we didn't see that tonight, but we did see him play halfback and receiver pretty well. I really enjoyed Connor Hayward's night overall. Freiermuth had 1 catch for a first down, and the away crowd all went Muth. Washington, the rookie, Washington came in, had 1 catch, 1 short catch today, was blocking a lot with the first team. I saw him playing with all 3, 1, 2, and 3, all 3 strings he played tonight, but was blocking a lot for the first team, which tells you a lot about their thoughts of him. He might not get a whole lot of routes. He might sneak out on a couple of late release routes, but as far as being in the game with the starting team, it's going to be some blocking stuff. They're going to use him in some blocking stuff this year, and I look forward to seeing that because that dude looks like a beast. Caught 1 pass tonight. Gentry only had 1 target, wasn't even near him, and that's really about it as far as the tight ends go. Looking here at offensive line, I only have 1 note, and it's a negative. The one person that caught my attention tonight was Kendrick Green. We're back to where we started, right? Kendrick Green's been getting a lot of hype this week for being put at fullback and actually getting some carries at halfback. He's been catching passes and doing some short runs and blocking at fullback, getting a lot of press that way. But Kendrick Green did not look good at backup center tonight. Came in relief of Mason Cole. Did not look very good. He got beat on a quarterback pressure that caused an incompletion, and then he got a holding penalty for 10 yards, which took away one of our first downs, and then he did a bad snap, which was a minus 16-yard play. At one point, we had like a 3rd and 36, all because of back-to-back Kendrick Green plays. So Kendrick Green is the only lineman that stood out to me in a negative way tonight. There was a couple of like handoff issues, but that was mostly Tanner Morgan at the 4th quarterback spot. Forgot to mention Tanner Morgan came into play, didn't look great. Threw a pick that was a stare down. Had a fumble, but he recovered it. Initially, it was rolled that Tampa recovered it. Then it was reversed that he recovered it, but had a fumble that he recovered, and then threw a pick on the next play. Just was kind of out of sorts. Also stepped on a running back's foot tonight, so he was looking a little nervous, looking a little bit like his technical aspects, his footwork, were not really on point tonight. So that doesn't go on the lineman. Broderick Jones did get beat for 1 in probably the 4th quarter or so that's not the best sign. But other than that, I didn't see a whole lot of lineman stuff that I can complain about besides Kendrick Green. So that's a negative for me. Defensively, this team only allowed 10 points for most of the game. I like what a lot of these guys did. A lot of sacks tonight. Nick Herbig, 1.5 sacks. Did I say Nick? Is it Nick or Nate? I always confuse the two. The one's the offensive lineman, the other one's the outside linebacker. I'm going to call him Nick. Nick Herbig, 1.5 sacks. Hope I got that right. Nick Kwiatkowski, the inside linebacker, with a sack. DeMarvin Leal with a half sack. Quincy Roche with a sack. Let's talk about these guys. Nick Herbig looks like he could be, I don't want to get hyperbolic here, baby TJ Watt, right? I get a lot of crap for calling Calvin Austin baby Tyreek Hill, but I also think that Herbig is trained with Watt. He came out of the same school. They know each other. You can see the burst. You can see the outside move. He is becoming a young Watt in his technical aspects at an early age. Not expecting him to come out in his first NFL game and kill it, but for his first action here in preseason, he comes out and gets a sack and a half. He came in, pulled the quarterback's arm, yanked him down, really strong play, came back out in another play and blew past somebody, actually ran over. Was that him that ran over the lineman? No, that was Kwiatkowski. Herbig with 2 great sacks. Looked hard to defend out there. Again, was playing against second teamers, but looked really good. The future is bright for the outside of this deal, this offensive or defensive line on the outside linebacker aspect. And if, God forbid, if TJ Watt goes down, knocking on wood, we don't want to see that. But every year, our outside linebackers do get hurt, and there's not as much depth. This year now, there's Marcus Golden, and we've got Herbig, who's looking really, really good early on. I like what I'm seeing. Kwiatkowski blew up a running back, just knocked him straight on his ass, and then went and wrangled the quarterback. Also had a nice play downfield where he was covering. He dove at a ball, didn't connect with the ball, but did distract the wide receiver for the incompletion, but then landed on his shoulder. So that's an injury to look out for. Kwiatkowski and Tanner Muse are fighting for that 5th inside linebacker spot. We'll talk more about the inside linebackers. DeMarvin Leal had a decent game here, couple tackles, was in on the half sack. I like what I'm seeing out of Leal. Roche, I'm going to say not the best game in the world. Had some moments, though. The sack was just a quarterback fell down, tripped and fell, and he had to walk over and touch him. So it wasn't a real sack, so to speak. Roche also did miss a tackle or two where he was in the backfield and just couldn't get the footwork in. He couldn't wrap the guy up. So did miss a few tackles, but then also was in on a forced fumble on special teams at the very end of the game. He helped out on a play to force a ball loose. So he's had an up-and-down game here. Pretty interesting. Half good, half bad. But I don't think Roche makes the team, especially with the signing of Marcus Golden and the awesome play tonight of Herbig. Other guys on defense I want to talk about. Quan Alexander. This guy looks explosive and fast. He looks healthy, and he looks dangerous. Was out there covering a bit. Had some good shadowing on some receivers. Made two really good tackles on the running backs out there, and then also had a really explosive tackle for a loss that was called helmet to helmet when it wasn't. He actually form tackled the guy explosively, wonderfully, and they called it a penalty. Really bad call. So it only shows up as 2 big tackles for Quan, but really it's 3. Quan was all over the field. He was by far the best inside linebacker tonight. I don't mind what Cole Holcomb did. He was decent tonight as well. Landon was kind of quiet. Quan was explosive and looked like a star out there. He was one of the few standouts for the starting defensive team. I think that as long as he's healthy, I think Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander are your 2 inside linebacker starters, with Roberts at the 3 and Mark Robinson, who I'll discuss in a minute, at the 4. And then Kwiatkowski is fighting for that 5 spot with Tanner Muse. We'll discuss those guys, but Kwiatkowski overall had a solid game until he got hurt. So we'll see what the injury says. Kenny Robinson. He got some starting burn out there tonight at the safety spot because our starters didn't play, obviously. No reason to play Minka. Didn't play the veteran either, Keanu Neal. So Robinson got the start. Seemed like he missed a few plays. Seemed like he was explosive and he was around the ball a bit, but he also wasn't in the best form at times. So I think he made a few good plays as far as tackles, but didn't cover the best. So it was a little inconsistent. He's a guy to watch, though, for being a swing safety. There are a couple guys fighting for those spots as well. So up and down day for him. Another guy who played safety today, I'm pretty sure he was a safety, Trenton Thompson with the interception. Not sure if he's listed as a corner or safety, but came out, jumped a route, made a really nice play on Kyle Trask, who was throwing a ball down the field toward a guy that Pierre had gotten beat by, but then Thompson jumps in, makes the nice pick. Good interception for him. Keona Benton real quick. Keona Benton made a few nice plays. I thought both Loudermilk and Benton played well. Loudermilk's got to fight for a roster spot. Both were a little quiet, but had a few plays. Benton looks like he could be explosive to me. He was in on 2 or 3 plays kind of in succession, and I saw him starting to get kind of hot, and then all of a sudden he got injured. So he is the most impactful of our injuries tonight, and the potential starter that could be one to watch for. Hopefully he's not hurt for any period of time. It was like mid-third quarter when he got hurt, so I could see why you wouldn't bring him back in Shouldn't be too alarming. I hope he's not hurt. Because a couple other guys made plays in there tonight too. Martavis Adams did not play tonight, but I thought Fehoko and Watts both made a couple of plays. Fehoko batted a ball, and Watts made 2 tackles. Speaking of other guys playing corner, if we're looking at that like 4th to 5th corner spot, JPJ didn't play tonight, but he's obviously in the rotation. Peterson didn't play, but he's there. Wallace didn't play, but he's there. Luke Barku, I thought, played pretty well. I thought he was our best corner play tonight, aside from the one Tristan Thompson play. I thought Barku played pretty solid. Nothing flashy or spectacular, but he was around the ball. Made some routine plays. I thought he was decent. And James Pierre, I thought, was the worst player on our defense of all tonight. I thought he was terrible. He led the team with tackles because he had 9 tackles because he was getting beat constantly. Got beat on the interception play that someone else saved. Got beat down the field quite a bit. He was playing as a starter because he's a veteran and he's a guy that's fighting for a job. And I don't like the way he played tonight. I thought he was the weakest of all of our corners out there tonight. And then Duke Dawson wound up getting hurt in the 4th quarter. So we will see how Duke Dawson is. But I liked Barku tonight, and I did not like Pierre tonight. Those are 2 things from me there. Looking quickly at a couple other guys, Elijah Riley made a big special teams tackle tonight, which is a good sign for him. Also was all over the field. Kind of reminded me of Quan in the fact that he's like an athlete. He's excited. Chased the running back down all the way across the field on one play. Made a good special teams play on another play. I like Elijah Riley. That's a positive. Tanner Muse, I have positive/negative. Defensively, negative. He is as bad of a cover guy as I expected to be. He was getting beat a lot in the 4th quarter. They were passing the ball a lot better across the middle in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and that was Tanner Muse's guys that were burning him. But special teams-wise, he made at least 2, if not 3, big tackles downfield. So one of our special teams aces, as expected, but not good on defense. Is that going to be enough, though? Nick Kwiatkowski, if he's healthy, is a much better player on defense, but not doing much special teams-wise. Tanner Muse, much better on special teams, but is a liability on defense. So which one do you keep there? If it's down to one of those 2, that is a battle for us to watch. Starting special teams did not play tonight, so the backups did. BT Potter was 2 for 2 on field goals, just snuck 1 in, made 1 routinely, and then just snuck 1 just inside the upright. Extra points, he also made all of those, but 1 bounced. The first one he kicked bounced off the goalpost and bounced in. So I don't think he's going to be our starting kicker this year, but had a good showing for himself once the nerves calmed down. And then Braden Mann, the Ray Guy winner that is battling Presley Harvin for the punting spot. Harvin didn't play tonight. That's kind of a sign that he's probably going to be our starter. Braden Mann, not a bad night. First punt was short but bounced in his favor, and the others were decent. 4 punts, 183 yards, 45.8 yards per punt, and 1 punt inside the 20. So that is Braden Mann's decent night after his first kind of rough punt. So again, to summarize, overall, you got to feel good. Starting offense marched right down the field. Kenny's looks nice and elusive. The receivers look good. The guys you thought had speed, like Jalen Warren, like McFarland, like Calvin Austin, all showed their speed and made big plays tonight. Defensively, you got some studs. As long as Benton's healthy, I think he's a stud. Herbig's a stud. Quan's a stud. Kwiatkowski made some nice plays. Got to feel good about Leal. Loudermilk is someone to watch for a fringe player. I like what we got going on right now. Pittsburgh gets the win. Looks pretty good doing it. Who caught your attention? Tell me in the comments below who you think showed out, who you think had a bad game, and who you are watching most for next Saturday for Steelers game number 2. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like these deep dives. Let me know if you kind of like me bouncing all over the page or if you want to hear kind of an actual stat line for each player. Let's talk about it. But either way, I'll see you guys again at some point during the week and then next Saturday for the Steelers review. Take care, friends. Go Steelers. Glad football is back.